Hi, and welcome back to Rowing on the Square, the podcast. In this episode, I speak to Coach Nick from Nassau Rowing Club. Their rowing club is in the Bahamas, and they are on the beautiful Lake Cunnigham. We talk about the logistics of coming out to a training trip in the Bahamas and what to expect. I hope you enjoy this episode, and if you're interested in trying to get out to the Bahamas like I am for a training trip, please feel free to shoot me an email at adrien@rowingonthesquare.com. Enjoy the podcast. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I've had a quieter day, a very civilized breakfast, a quick trip to the Ministry of Education to chat to someone, and I'm back here now. So,
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I've the way I got connected with you is through Kyle, and I met Kyle at the head of the Charles, not this past year, but the year before. And he had kind of piqued my interest on the idea of coming out to Nassau and bringing some people to row. And, I've been bouncing the idea around to different people. And just some quick background on me. I'm a physical therapist and a rowing coach. Um, so I work kind of independent of the boathouses that are here in my area, but I'm kind of connected to all of them in various different ways. And it's cold. I went running this morning. It was 2 degrees. It was snowing.
is
Um,
that Fahrenheit or centigrade?
Fahrenheit.
Okay, that's cold.
It was very cold this morning. It was beautiful. When the air is crisp and the snow is falling, it's beautiful, but it's not fun to drive in, and you can't row in it. And our boats are put away. Yeah, so our season generally runs, if we're lucky, late April. Like it'll be the water temperatures will start to get warm enough for us, and then by like first or second week of November the docks are coming out, the boats are going away, so we really have like April to November. The rest of the time we are inside. We have like a tank facility in our region, so people start going there and doing technique work. But so the wintertime trip or the springtime trip is kind of a key thing for people around here to get some especially small boat work, because our season, because the water's so cold, we use the sum total of air temperature in Fahrenheit and water temperature in Fahrenheit has to be 90 degrees in order to go out in the single. We kind of use that rule. We have a river, the Genesee River, and then we also have the Erie Canal, which is like a canal system that runs across New York State.
Yep.
So there's
I
lots.
imagine that's got less flow to it. The canal has it.
Yeah, the canal's beautiful. It's a great place
Yeah.
to row. It's the disadvantage is that it's narrow. It's not super narrow. Like, I mean, you can put two boats, like two sweep boats side by side. Three in some places. It's tricky when we're racing on the canal.
I'm sure that there's a canal in Edinburgh in the UK where when you're going into one direction, you have to pull into the side and pull your oars in to let
Yep,
the guys going the other way. That's it. That's just the rule because it's so narrow. So
yep.
I'm familiar with such bodies of water. So
So I'm super excited for the idea of potentially gathering maybe 10 to 12 rowers from here and coming and seeing you guys. So,
right, sure. And look, I'm from the UK. We don't get quite as cold as you guys do, and we row pretty much all year round. But we get an awful lot of outings cancelled because either the river's going too fast or it's just too damn cold and miserable and wet.
yeah.
Like today, it is 79 degrees
Oh.
here. This is winter. It doesn't you get much colder than that, and the day-night temperatures just don't really change.
Mhm.
I think for 3 years I felt cold twice. 3 years. I actually had to deploy my jacket one day, but that was mainly because there was horizontal rain, which is actually quite rare.
Oh,
So I mean, climate-wise, the winter here is gorgeous for rowing. The summer's actually a bit too hot. You wouldn't want to come here in July, August, September. It's the lake is no longer comfortable to swim in. It's like it's not refreshing.
oh
It's
wow.
like a very hot bath.
Oh wow.
So there's no current on the lake. It's got no ingress or exit to the sea. So it's brackish water.
Uh-huh.
but it's just rainfall and evaporation.
Okay.
And last year it got a little bit low. We were getting a bit concerned for the props on our coaching boats, but then we had some wonderful Bahamian storms, which happen from time to time, and we got 9 inches in a 24-hour period, which was quite useful.
Wow.
So, if you do get poor weather here,
Mhm.
it tends to get on with it. You tend to get a whoosh, and then it's fine, and the sun comes out. If you're very unlucky, we Sparks run some coxing camps here from time to time.
Mhm.
One year where it was just grey and miserable. It was like being back in the UK, but that's incredibly rare. You'd be pretty unfortunate
Okay.
to end up with that sort of situation. And we very, very rarely have to cancel outings. There's certainly never any problem with river flow because there's no stream. It's never too cold to do it. The only issue are lightning if there's a thunderstorm, but March, April is not really like during hurricane season. It's much more prevalent to get a tropical storm or something coming around. Or very occasionally it's too windy. The wind has to be blowing in exactly the wrong direction for us to get waves that are too big to row in. The lake is quite sheltered. Have you had a look at it on Google Maps?
Yeah, yeah, I did take a look at it. So, I mean, it looks looks beautiful.
It is nice. So, I mean, you've got 3.5 kilometers of water from tip to tip. There's one narrow bit called the Narrows. Because we're really innovative with our names. Uh, but in the Narrows, you could have 3 crews abreast if they really know what they're doing. Realistically, 2 crews abreast, just for that one little pinch point. And then it winds out to like you can put whatever you want. So you could have 20 crews abreast in the wider bit. So have you found where we are? The Nassau? Have you got it in front of you?
Let me if I type in the rowing club, will
Yeah,
it
just type
pop up?
or just do Google, yeah, on Google Maps. Just type
Sure.
Nassau Rowing Club.
Perfect. Yep, so I've got the little drop point there, Lake Cunningham.
Yeah, that's right. So we're on the left hand side, yes.
Yep.
Found us, yeah. So you can see if you scroll along down John F. Kennedy Drive, you'll see the little narrow bit about halfway down.
Oh, I see that. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and that's mangroves. So the sides are soft sides mainly.
Okay.
So if you do have a steering whoopsie, it doesn't tend to be fatal.
Okay.
Um, you're more likely to be embarrassed than breaking things, which is good.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, so this little arm between the rowing club and the narrow bit that tends to be pretty sheltered. So the wind's got to be blowing all the way from the far end through that narrow bit for us to get white caps. So touch wood. I've been on training camps before on big lakes in Europe, and the wind blows, and
Yeah.
you're sat on the go thinking, why the hell did I pay all this money to come here and sit on a rowing machine?
Yeah.
Um, Now, we don't have plan B. We do not have a boathouse. We do not have a suite of ergos or a gymnasium facility on site. There are gyms around. They would probably charge you a lot of money. One thing, unfortunately, you're going to discover is that the Bahamas is very expensive.
Okay.
It's one of the most expensive cost of living places in the world to live. On the plus side, if you're working here, it's tax free. Yay! So if I think my disposable income here is about the same as living in London, and London's not cheap, but New York's not cheap either. But I'm just not paying tax. But going to the supermarket, I cry every time I buy a bar of chocolate, for example.
Yeah.
So $6 for a 100-gram bar of dairy milk.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, it is one of the more expensive items. You can get 10-minute noodles for like 60 cents a packet, which is fine. So yeah, a lot of stuff is quite expensive. So you will have to just sort of factor in, like some of the hotels are all inclusive, which obviously takes out that factor.
Yeah.
If you're in a B&B, just be aware that prices in the supermarket are going to be a lot more expensive than you're expecting.
Okay.
Um,
How far away is the closest all-inclusive to the
they're pretty close. I mean, you could walk if you were feeling keen, or just hire a car. Nothing's that far away. The island is like 21 miles wide by about 11 miles. Sorry, 11 miles 21 long by about 11 miles wide, north to south. So,
Okay.
um, they get traffic jams, but they're nothing like real traffic jams that you get in the city. Um, have you got Kyle's spreadsheet with what did he call it? I've got it open somewhere if I can find it.
Yeah, I think I do have his spreadsheet. I don't I'm working my
Oh,
phone.
the NRC travel guide. That's what he called it.
Yeah. So that
So the
go ahead.
yeah, the Sandyport Beach Resort and Breezes. So Sandyport's probably the closest one. There's one he's left out there as well. Um, so yeah, 5 minute drive,
Okay.
half-hour walk would be one of the closest places. There's some Airbnbs that are closer. I'm sure I need to update this, or Carl needs to update that. 'Cause that's not my job. So that and yeah, a lot of people would just hire a car or two because you might want to go exploring. And there's a number of touristy things you can do. It's not, there's some very fun tourist things that I would recommend. Like there's a boat trip called Power Boat Adventures.
Okay.
You want that's a sort of pretty much a day trip, but it's a lot of fun. I think you get there for like 11 and you're back by 3 or something. And you get a powerboat off to a little private island. You get to swim with some piggies. They've got swimming pigs.
Oh
You
my
get feed great big lizards with little tomatoes on a stick.
God.
And then there's the private island where you end up at has got like an open bar which you've already paid for in your ticket effectively, and a great big buffet. Um, so that, so long as the weather's nice, that's a really good fun trip. You could probably do a morning outing and then go and do that. You
Mhm.
probably want an afternoon outing in there. It depends how much you've enjoyed the bar. Uh, but that's like in downtown by the ferry terminal. So you'd need a bus. There are local buses, jitneys they're called, which
Okay.
are not that bit dicey.
Okay. Okay.
Or there are expensive taxis, or hire yourselves a couple of cars because that gives you a bit more independence.
Okay.
And if you're hiring cars, probably look and see if you can't find a local company, because the big, the normal ones you're expecting at the airport will charge you an absolute arm and a leg.
Okay.
Everybody will try and charge you an arm and a leg for everything that you do here. You just need to be aware of that.
Okay.
We try not to charge an arm and a leg because we like rowing and we like people to be coming back. So, but the general thing is that stuff is very expensive. Um, Eventually we will get a boathouse sorted out. We're working on that at the moment, and I think the only thing that holds us back from very much competing with Florida as a venue for colleges to come is the fact that stuff is going to be more expensive here.
Yeah.
Uh, but having said that, I'm in the Bahamas. I don't care. It's very nice. I'll pay the little bit extra. It's very pleasant. Um, the fleet. Now, are you looking at beginners, experienced people? You
It
mentioned
would most
boats.
likely be experienced, but like I mean it could range the gamut. Like I would think of myself because I rode in college, I still scull, so like I would say I'm like intermediate to intermediate-ish, like can pretty much jump in any boat. Most of the people who would go, who I think would be interested in this, wouldn't be beginners. They wouldn't be fresh to rowing. They would be rowing regularly with their club. Whether they row sculling would be one club is really good about teaching all other people how to scull. Some of the clubs aren't, so there potentially could be someone who's new to sculling but not new to rowing.
This is actually, honestly, so I've been a professional rowing coach for 33 years. I have to do some maths there. This is what I've been doing all my life, and this is the safest, best venue I have ever been in for teaching someone how to scull.
Perfect.
Mainly because the water's really warm. So, in the winter it's a bit colder, but by March it should be warm enough.
Yeah.
Um, there's no stream. You're not going to get swept under a bridge or a moored boat or anything like that. There's almost no other traffic on the lake at all. It's incredibly rare for us to. There's a seaplane that comes in about every month, and he's very good at avoiding us. I've chatted to him. He's like, "Yeah, don't worry, I'll do another pass if I see you." Something. We all just scatter out of the way. It's it's really good for teaching people singles. So, you know, if it's rough, it's rough. Then you put them in a quad or an octo. Have you ever been in an octo?
I have never been in an octo, so I definitely want to do that while I'm there.
It's fun. So I made you know, British rowing background. I think we start our children a year earlier compared to the States, effectively in middle school,
Mhm.
top year of middle school. And we have a rule that we're not allowed to do sweep rowing until you are what we call J15, which is first year of high school, effectively.
Mhm.
So every school kid learns to scull first. So, like at the National Schools Regatta, it's not eights, it's octuple sculls and quads and what have you. And then at J15, you can switch up to sweep or you can stay sculling as you desire. So, and particularly teaching adults. I went from a sweep background. I did 5 years of sweep through school,
Mhm.
high school. Didn't change sides because we didn't know, you know, I'm 52 now. Yep. We didn't have the science and the knowledge back then. So I just rode on bow side, starboard for you for 5 years, wondered why I was a bit lopsided and why when I got into single scull, A, I fell in all the time. B, when I stopped falling and I went around in circles. And it took 3 years to win my novice pot in a single, despite the fact I was a national school champion in sweep.
Mhm.
Um, but it's just if you scull first, sweep's really easy. If you sweep first,
Mhm.
sculling, yeah, always find it. Adults in particular really struggle. We've got a couple of new members here who rode through college, and yeah, they're still at the going round in circles phase. But as I say, it is actually a great venue to do that. Now, in terms of equipment, we don't have huge amounts. Did you see the equipment list on that same spreadsheet?
I did, and I think you know, trying to figure out how many people would be interested, and it would be ambitious to say I could get 10 people. But I just don't know once I kind of put this information out to people.
You
Um,
know, if it works for you, it can be like 4 people, and then you know you only need one coach, and away you go. You know,
so
so
so to every so if you have singles out there, how many coaches per single? So can one coach do four singles at a time?
so all of this, it's all about risk assessments, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's down to conditions. It's down to this. If I turn up and I've got people who are quite new to sculling and it's really windy, they're going in a quad because they're not going to get a meaningful outing in a single. If it's mirror flat glass water, I'm very happy to have a crowd of singles out there, as long as everyone's, you know, like this is the circulation pattern. Make sure you know what to do when you capsize. You know, staying with the boat in the Bahamas is not a terrible thing because you're just like hanging onto something in some quite warm water, and then when I finish laughing at you, I come and fetch you in the motorboat. You know, so it does just come down to conditions and ability of each athlete. Uh, so I range from with beginners. There's no formal rules here at the moment. We're
Yeah.
working on them. Yes, this is all quite a new sport here. Yeah, I've been a club safety officer in all sorts of clubs at home, so I'm making sure that what we do is safe,
Oh yeah.
but it's not formalised yet. But what I tend to do is if I've got complete beginners, my own rule is one boat, one coach.
Uh,
So I'm happy that can be 8 people because I've got an octo,
mhm.
and I can even take out the octo without a cox because it doesn't matter because
Yep.
we're not really going anywhere.
Yeah.
Um, if I've got experienced people, you know, within reason, I can have the world out there. Ideally, you know, if you've got a decent number of people, unless they're prepared to stay in sight,
Mhm.
one coaching boat's fine. If they want to go further out, I just want them visible all the time. So, you
Yeah,
know,
that's fair. That's fair.
yeah. So, you know, you'd look at the numbers, look at the experience, and then decide what is a sensible and safe.
Right. And I think I would try to aim for something even. So that
But I mean, the beauty of single sculls is it doesn't matter if it's even, does
yeah.
it?
Yeah, and then I mean I guess if worst comes to worst, you could send out a three and then the quad.
I do that regularly. I'll stick out like I think tonight we've got 7 masters. We do one outing in the dark just because some people prefer to do it after work. So tonight will probably be a septuple skull because why not? Um, that works. You know, stick some lights on the boat and away we go. So yeah, fitting odd numbers in is honestly just not a stress. Um, if everyone's excited about getting in singles, that's going to be your crunch point because the club has only got 4 actual proper club singles, one of which is one of the big fatty fat ones, the Explorer ones, which are great for complete beginners, except I don't really like complete beginners because then they learn that they can just pull really hard and not capsize, and they don't actually learn to, move with the boat nicely. And this is quite tippy. So we've got a fluid which we try and be careful about because it's old and it's falling apart quietly, and they're so brittle you just touch the damn thing and they fall apart. You've got two Wintex, which are, I'd say they're getting towards the end of their life. They still work. So all our boats are set perfectly. I'm very anal about rigging stuff right. So when a rower gets in it, I know it's the human, not the boat, that is the problem. So, because there's nothing worse than getting in a boat which has got 2 degrees of negative pitch and wondering why it's tipping over to one side all the time. And you're like, oh, you do this. No, make the boats right. So they're not hugely robust, but they work. I'd be concerned if you brought massive men over and putting them into them. They're probably not going to love that. Even though they're big boats, like we have to redo the deck on, had to fly someone in to redo the deck on both boats a while back. So in theory, they're fine now for a bit. Now I've got a private boat which is unthinkable, which is great, which I'm always happy for people to use. I kind of bought it to donate it to the club. So, I'm not going to take it home with me, am I? Shipping things with too much money. I've probably used it 3 times since I bought the damn thing, but club members are great at it all the time. So effectively, we've got 5 club singles. There are a number of private singles. I need to talk to their owners. There's a possibility we can get more. And the other school that Rose has got a couple of Swift singles. Have you come across Swift boats before?
Yeah, yeah.
They're not great. They're real bottom end type stuff.
Yeah, they kind of have the hull has that squishy feel to them.
So, that depends on which spec. They've got different, same as Wintex. So Wintex, you've got the squishy ones,
Yeah.
which hold up a bit better than the next level up, which is the international one, which is what our blue ones are. I'm afraid old Wintex don't hold up at all well. I spoke to the owner of Wintec in the US about 2 years ago when I was first here, and we were discussing boats. And he said, and I was so pleased to hear him say it, our biggest problem is that reputationally, our boats were absolutely terrible up till very recently. It's like, oh my God, someone's finally admitted to what everyone's been saying for years and years and years. Apparently the new ones are really good, but they've only changed the mold, the process in the last few years. I need to see what they look like in 15 years before I'm ever going to buy one again.
Yeah.
So there's a British company called Janasek, which make boats that are basically a bit like Vespoli's, last a long time, or the older ones. There's an 8 that the last school I was coaching at in the UK was built in 1988 that's still being used today.
Wow.
Yes. That's been refurbed and what have you, but to get that many years out of a boat, that's good going. And their first ever single scull that they built in 1981 is still alive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, I mean, singles last longer than 8s. They just
they don't get up as much.
So we've got some of those. That's the new boats that we've brought in. They're just great club boats. You'll never see one in the Olympics. They're not for Olympics, but they are indestructible Panzer tanks. They're good. Doubles, we've got 3 working doubles. I can rustle up a 4th if needs be. It just needs a bit of work. So 2 of them are the squishy Wintex. They're fine. They're cool club trainers. We're out on them all the time. We've got one Hudson, but it's weird. It's a really strange Hudson. It's very, very difficult to fit human beings into it, which is a complaint that I have with a lot of boat builders, where they seem to have designed the boat to be a boat and they forgot that people have arms and legs. But it's a Hudson, so it's a proper boat. It's a racing shell. We've got a Hudson Quad, which is great. It does the job and is in pretty good nick. And then we've got this new Octo, which is great. And we've got some really nasty old Coxed 4s that ideally don't use them. One of them shedding its carbon all over the place. Fiberglass, so you get itchy every time you pick it up. It's an old top. There's an old Vespoli, which is it's like 19 years old, but it still works. That was not so bad. And then an old Wintec Cox Quad /4, which is floppily doppily, and the deck split last year, and it's all been repaired, but it's yeah. So yeah, you're not going to turn up and find a fleet of Philippines and Empakas and shiny new boats. They all work. They're all rigged perfectly. The blades are mostly reasonably new, but you just need to know it's not Row America pristine new boats all over the place. It's just yeah.
And I think a lot of the rowers here would be comfortable with that. Not a lot of the teams have um brand new things that they're using, and I think they're more concerned about proper technique, getting an opportunity to just get the blade in the water. Like I said, our season is so scrunched down that just when people are like really getting really like good, the season ends.
And you
So,
stop. You're sitting
and
on
then
the
you
Ogo.
stop. And so
And
then you're back on the learning bad habits, getting used to
yeah,
a stationary rowing machine, and then you're hopping back in the boat and trying to pick up where you left off, but you left that 7 months ago. So this is like an opportunity to kind of, to jumpstart the season with
definitely.
just
So,
just getting the feeling and actually pulling through real water instead of our tank facility where the water goes around in a circle and you're
but I do love tanks. I'm an enormous fan of a rowing tank because you can stop and move bits around rather than having to just explain from a coaching boat.
yeah.
And if they weren't so damned expensive, I would actually buy one here, even though we've got this lovely water, just for the ability to no, put your hand here and move your arm there, and from a coaching perspective, I think they're great things.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, super useful for you guys in the winter. So in terms of if people want to come for technical development, like that's my bread and butter. My whole life, I get so bored with training people. It doesn't excite me at all. I've done it, I've coached a lot of international level athletes. I've put a lot of people into national squads in the UK and New Zealand and South Africa. I've done a lot of coaching in all three countries. I've never coached an international crew. I've been offered, I have refused because it's boring. Because all day, all you're really doing is box ticking. You're just monitoring to make sure that they're doing exactly the right amount of training. If you're going to be East German about it, you take lactic acid every single day and make sure they're in the right zone, all this sort of stuff. Are you eating enough? Are you resting enough? No, that doesn't excite me. Technique, making people more efficient, making a boat. I'm very lazy. I want to go as fast as I can for as little effort as possible. That's what I'm all about. And if you've got an athlete that's actually, got some beans behind them, then they're going to go really fast, and that's the thing. So, if people want to learn to be more, efficient and things like balance a single, um, how do I cross my hands over without bashing them in a sort of basic level? That's absolutely the sort of bread and butter that I can deliver to
Yeah.
a very high level or to beginners. I'm very very happy with any level of athletes. I quite enjoy the variety. That's the other reason why I turn down international jobs is there's no variety. Every day you're just coaching the same sort of level. Trying to get a 13-year-old to actually pay attention long enough to make a change.
Mhm.
Um, Particularly one that's only there because their mummy or daddy thought they should try rowing and they're not that interested. That's a fantastic challenge. I enjoy that more than adding a quarter of a half a percent of speed to an Olympic level rower. So
Yeah.
anyway, so if people are coming in to learn and improve skills, this is probably a great opportunity.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is that the the style that I coach is very, very different to most US rowing programs.
Okay.
I've got an assistant coach at the moment who came from Capital Rowing Club, Capital Rowing Center
Mhm.
in DC, and so I've coached a lot of Americans in my time. And he said, "Yeah, I've only seen this." He said we had an Italian coach come over about 3 years ago, did something similar to this, and part of it is I think you need to know the sort of where I differ to what you're used to,
Okay.
because Americans tend to spend so much time on the ergo. All the college programs are hugely ergo orientated. In fact, talking to recruiters, they seem to quantify speed as ergo speed, not water speed. When we're talking about recruiting athletes, it's like, yeah, what's their speed? I'm like, what? Do you want some singles times? No, their speed, their ergo speed. So it's like, okay, if you spend your life in an ergo, you are going to kick off the front end an awful lot harder than you need to in a boat.
Mhm.
And you're going to give your poor little coxswain whiplash. You're going to work far too hard at the front end. So I'm just trying to multitask and swat a mosquito. There we go, done. You do get mosquitoes. I've got one of these lovely electric tennis racket things. It's wonderful. So I find a lot of US crews, the sweeping demoralization, but it bears out. They're very brutal at the front end of the stroke. There's a lot of effort going in a very short space of time to try and really get the boat moving as fast as possible. I'm the complete opposite to that. I am super lazy. I will do some funky things to how to make the blade grip the water incredibly efficiently. Because for me, if the oar has slipped through the water even half an inch, that's half an inch the boat didn't go. So it's get a grip on the water, but you get the grip on the water not by pushing to connect, but by inserting the oar in a particular way so that the water fills the face of the blade and grips the water before I put any pressure on the foot plate. And the initial pressure I put on the foot plate is going to be surprisingly soft for most people. They're going to feel, why aren't I doing anything? And then the work's going to come on later with an emphasis on when the blades are actually square onto the boat, perpendicular, because then all my force is actually moving the boat. Yep. If my oars are like really wide apart at the front end, well, more of my force is just squeezing the riggers together. So I don't need to be pushing hard at that point. And I can talk a bit more about it, but it's basically moving with the boat, being super efficient, not just slamming the heck out of it and going for it, because particularly as one gets older as a master, you lose a lot of that power. So it's try and be clever rather than just tough. So if you don't mind the fact that what they're being taught might be a bit different to what they're being taught at the club, I don't know. I'm speculating.
I think that if people go into it knowing that they may learn something a little bit different, I think that that also might be an advantage to, it's always good to have other tools in your toolbox in the sense that maybe what you're currently doing isn't the best technique for you, and being able to learn something new might be a great opportunity for a lot of people. And I think a lot of people are looking for that. Like I said, our time is so truncated on the water that by the time a lot of especially there's a lot of newer masters locally, the people who are just picking up the sport, and them having the opportunity to hear everything a little bit differently, I think is a good thing, not a bad thing. And I think going into it, if people know that the technique might be different than what they've heard at their local club, it's just another tool in their toolbox that they can try and see if it works. And if it works for them and they feel more comfortable doing it, great. Because it's all about, people just want to move the boats faster. They want to get on the water and be more efficient. They want to feel like they're being productive. And I think trying different things to be more productive on the water, I think everybody's going to be positive with that too. But I think
That's great.
Caveat, that the theory is potentially could be different, which is great.
Yeah, no, great. It's just people need to be eyes open and like, oh, this is very different. Because one of the things I'll say on my first thing is, I'm going to teach you one way of rowing. There's go look at an Olympic final. There's lots of different styles, all going very fast. When you go back to your club, if you're going in a crew boat, you need to pretty much forget everything I've just said, because you've got to conform to what the crew are doing, and you've got to do what your coach is saying, because otherwise it'll be an absolute disaster. But if you're in your single or a double with someone else, you can have a little play. And if you start going faster than people doing it differently, then maybe this is working, maybe it's not. So that's my only thing is, as long as people are happy and going in with a pre-knowledge that this might be a bit funky and what's going on. And I'm always very patient to explain exactly why I'm doing something the way I am. If anyone can persuade me to do it differently, I'm dropping what I'm doing and I'm doing the different thing, because I just want people to go as fast as they can. So I've had great fun over the years trying absolutely everything, getting a boat and rowing all sorts of different daft ways, and stick a little speed monitor on. And obviously within the limitations of my body, I usually get real athletes to do this because I can only do so much. I stopped being an athlete when I was 18 years old and sat in the coaching launch ever since. So it's very much do as I say, not as I do, but there we go. No, all right, listen, this all sounds very cool. I guess you need to get some pricing sorted out with flights and accommodation.
The top things would be the flights, and then the location for accommodations. I would need to look up the you said hiring a car, correct?
Yeah, I can
At
ask
least to and from practice, right? For
Yeah,
practice. Um,
because particularly if you want to, if you want to go exploring, and you might want to be, I don't know, maybe 2 rows in the morning, and then off you go exploring after lunch, that sort of thing. Um, the slightly frustrating thing is because there isn't a clubhouse. It's not like you can do your first row and then chill at the river at the lake, and then do your second row. You probably need to go back to the hotel and then come back again.
Okay.
Depending on the weather, like we've got picnic tables and umbrella, you could bring a snack and do a row, have a rest, and then go again. Um, there is a porta potty,
Okay.
but that's as far as the facilities go. There's a shed, but it's full of lawnmower and an old engine, so
Okay.
it's not really a changing facility. Um, just write down. Uh, there's. I'm just looking for the. If you write down the word Atlantic Drive
Okay.
and then look for Airbnbs on Atlantic Drive, I think like Westview Apartments looks like it's one of them, because those are really close to us. Because we had a lady stay from Xavier University, and she was somewhere really close.
Oh, okay.
So just near the supermarket.
Who came in from Xavier?
Beth,
Okay. Okay.
I can't remember her surname.
Um,
Nice lady, very very switched on, very.
because I know the a couple of the coaches of one of the, and she may not be an assistant with them anymore, but yeah. Oh, that's cool. All right. Atlantic Drive, Airbnbs, um, flights, accommodations. If we if we stay at an Airbnb, is there a way to like either cater some meals um or would you recommend just doing like a big shop at the beginning, like going
So
into
I mean, there's lots and lots of little restaurants
Okay.
kicking around. There's a big supermarket in walking distance to the rowing club. Excuse me, called Super Value at the top end of Atlantic Drive. So yeah, it's up to whether people want to cook for themselves or eat. If you eat out all the time, that is going to get pricey. There's some great restaurants, but they're not cheap. Um,
And as far as like the time frame, the length of the stay, what do you think is the most comfortable length of stay, especially if we're just trying this out to start? Um like I don't
I
want to
mean, like,
too short of a time but I don't want people to be like this was kind of long. Like do you know if there's like kind of a sweet spot for
I mean,
3 days?
for me, most training camps I've ever been on have been, with some of the elite athletes I've coached, it's been like 2 or 3 weeks because they're trying to do full time training in a warm weather environment. So we used to go to like Seville in the south of Spain, for example, or Sabaudia in Italy, just because it wasn't bloody freezing. And a lot of the federations would send their athletes and would live there throughout the winter, particularly the Nordic countries. But for normal human beings, like 5 days, 6 days is that can be too much for some of them. It depends on people's level. Hands start getting shredded and
Yeah.
start
Yeah.
getting tired. But by the same point, if you're spending a lot of money on an airfare,
Yeah, you want
you
to
want to feel like you're getting, you know,
time
the
to
sort of bang for your buck in terms of I didn't just fly in, row for 3 days, and fly out again.
Yeah, and you were
But
talking
like the
to
Sparks camps are really short. They're only 4 days, or like 3 real days. So they fly in the morning, they do an afternoon session, they do 2 full days, and then they do a morning, and then they fly out. Now that's a coxing camp, which is a bit different,
yeah.
but I think that's on the short side.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And you were
like you could do like a Monday to Friday or something like that.
okay. So like a
Or
Monday.
I said again, I don't know if weekend. So I'd like to avoid Sundays because that is my day off, and that's not a religious thing. It's just I need a day off. I'm really tired otherwise. I'm not getting any younger. Uh,
It's a joy to be in the launch, but sometimes you just don't want to get in the launch. So,
I mean, if I won the lottery tomorrow, I'd still be doing this.
yeah.
I'd love doing this, but I would probably do a bit less of it.
Exactly. And then as far as like costs for like the actual camp, so if we did like a Monday through Friday, I will do some work on my back end here and I'll look into the flights, the accommodations, the hiring of the car. I've got a general price, like the top level price for the actual rowing piece of it. And then this will help me get started and then I'll have like a number to tell people and oh my gosh, you have my dream job working where it doesn't go below 70 something degrees
It's
and
not.
cooking.
I'm not going to lie. It's not terrible. Look. I'm a bit of a wuss. I spent 7 years doing summer in South Africa and summer in the UK, and 3 years doing the same in New Zealand, purely to avoid the fact that British winter sucked. So this is ticking a lot of boxes, except to say it's a bit too hot in the summer.
Mm. Well, I don't mind too hot. Like too cold, yeah,
Oh no, no, it's really too hot.
really
If you
too
do
hot.
3 outings on a Saturday morning, even with a bimini cover on the launch, you're cooking.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, maybe I come back home in the summer and I just hang out with you guys during the winter.
It's also like we get things like 98% humidity.
Oh, oh, okay. All
Well,
right.
it literally, I've never seen that high humidity. I was like, you walk outside and you're just dripping. Um, and anything that's got glue on it. So like we had not us, but the winds of the other school had one of those Zodiac inflatables, and the rubber ring bit peeled itself away from the console because the glue just
Wow.
failed in the humidity. Brand new rowing shoes with glue, like Wintex used to come with shoes which were glued, fresh out the packet. First outing, the shoes just peeled off from the soles. So
So,
we've now got loads of active tools shoes. Are you aware of those? The plastic ones?
oh, like the with the little holes all in
They're,
them.
they're they're adjustable. They're like Crocs in a boat, and
Yeah.
they're great. You can make them bigger and smaller in seconds.
Mhm.
Um, but they're guaranteed for 5 years,
Wow.
and there's nothing glue that makes them fall apart. So they're brilliant. But any normal shoes, yeah, just one of the Cox box holders in one of our brand new boats was glued into the boat. Out it came.
Wow.
So partly because the boat builder never built boats for tropical environments. They weren't expecting that, so they'd never had that problem before. So we've been working together to, make sure it's good for the next one. Um, so yeah, it does get pretty hot and sweaty.
That's such a consideration, that and even like the inside of the shells, do they get like super hot? Like I know like we have a shell that has a like it's all black
Yeah.
and
So
the
quite a few of ours are all black, and if you put it on the dock and you don't sit on it pretty quickly, you're needing to splash some water on that, or your bottom's going to get very hot when you sit down. So, and don't pick the oars up by the shaft because you'll know about it. So, yeah, the stuff really cooks, and unfortunately, our boats are on racks outside at the moment because we don't have a boathouse, so that they're definitely deteriorating more than they normally would because it's just
so
super hot. The oars are vaguely shaded because rule number one of taking care of your oars: don't leave them in direct sunlight, and particularly don't do that when it's somewhere as hot as this. So,
wow.
um, but yeah, no, the winter time is. I was just talking to my assistant coach John this morning. We've been driving around doing some admin, and we're like, why aren't we on the water right now? It's lovely. It's sort of say 80 degrees or so, and
Oh.
no breeze.
Oh, and I wish I could. I mean, I should show you outside my window. It's all winter white, totally covered in snow.
Oh, I quite like that. So I've got a girlfriend who lives in Henley in the UK, and they had little snow flurries.
Yep.
So she'd send me a photo of snow, and I'd send her back one of me on the beach, which doesn't go down well for some reason. I've not quite worked this out yet, but
Well, our river is frozen solid already. I mean, it's only December, and usually it doesn't. I mean, midwinter, like January, February, we have enough cold for it to freeze solid, but it is
yeah,
already frozen solid. Like we've had very, very cold weather. It's been below freezing for several days in a row. And once that starts to happen, we also live by the lake too, like Lake Ontario, so the Great Lakes. So when the wind starts to shift, we get a lot of lake effect snow. So this morning when I was out running, like it was a whole lake effect band. It just pulled the warm water off of the lake, the part of the lake that hadn't frozen yet, and
yeah.
it just dumped it on us basically. I went out
Wow.
running. There was basically just a dusting. Turned around. I ran out about 30 minutes. I turned around. I started running back, and the snow was already this deep. It was just
Wow.
wild. It just fell out of the
I
sky.
mean, great training. That's resistance training running through the snow like that.
Oh
Of
yeah,
course,
yeah.
what you need to do is drum up some custom for your physiotherapy by arming all the rowers with skates and sending them out onto the lake, and there'll be so many sprained ankles and poorly coordinated rowers trying to do things with that.
Exactly. We go forward and back and forward and back and forward and back, all in one plane.
Yes,
That's
and
all
we're
we
and
do.
we're sat down, and our feet are strapped in. There's very little that can go wrong. Sore backs from time to time. No, I always like it when I know physios who are rowers, because there were so many physios from back home who'd be like, "Oh, I can fix your rower." It's like, no, you can't, because you don't know what they're actually doing.
Yep.
So
Yep.
then they
I
give
know.
out
It's a
poor
lot of
advice.
times it's an issue. It's a problem that they're doing when they're actually going through the movement. And if you fix the injury and you don't fix the movement, they're
Precisely.
gonna get, yeah, they're not going to get back into
Well,
the.
I mean, that's how you get repeat custom.
Oh, well, yeah, helps me out, but usually I nip it in the butt. Try to stop the bad movement too. Fix the injury, stop the bad movement, and send them on their way. But they'll
No,
continue to.
that's great. But some of your colleagues are not so professional.
I try not to have too many repeat customers, but rowers are pretty uncoordinated. So a lot of times they injure themselves doing something else and then want to get back to rowing too. So I do see them pretty often when they decide to try something else, especially something that's multiplanar.
Yeah, no, we're not built for that. We know our limits. No, that's great. Listen, this has been a great conversation.